Welcome to the Liberate Your Life podcast. I'm Melinda Fletcher, your mystic mountain mama and Ayurvedic expert, here to guide you through the intertwining paths of Ayurveda, somatic healing, and spiritual growth. In each episode, we explore the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda, diving into a transformative world of somatic practices and embark on a journey towards spiritual enlightenment. Whether you're a newcomer or a seasoned explorer in these realms, our discussions are designed to illuminate and inspire. Imagine this podcast as your sanctuary, where ancient traditions and modern insights converge. From practical Ayurvedic wisdom to profound somatic healing techniques, we cover it all, helping you integrate these practices into your daily life for holistic well-being. So grab your favorite cup of herbal tea, find a cozy spot, and settle in. Together we'll uncover the secrets to physical health, emotional balance, and spiritual awakening. It's time to liberate your life, embrace your inner wisdom, and awaken to your true potential. Welcome, dear listeners, to the Liberate Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Fletcher, and in today's episode, we will be diving deep into the ancient practices of Ayurvedic detoxification and its relevance in our fast-paced modern world. Together, we'll explore how to integrate Ayurvedic wisdom into our daily lives for enhanced wellness and balance. Our contemporary lifestyles, characterized by stress, environmental pollution, and processed food, can disrupt our natural balance. Ayurvedic practices offer timeless solutions to these modern challenges. Adapting our diet to suit our dosha, for instance, can counteract the effects of stress and pollution. Ayurveda also provides simple yet effective daily rituals like sipping warm water with lemon that can be woven into our hectic schedules. Before we dive in further, I would love to share about my personal experience with one of the pillars of Ayurveda's detoxification called Panchakarma. So I was near the end of my Ayurvedic studies after 4 years, and I had been just running too hard, too fast, too hot for too long. And I injured my back. And I realized that as much as I had been in love with wellness and spiritual practices and Ayurveda, that there was this piece around my modern hectic schedule that like push and pressure and rev and all the things that I was doing that had compiled in my system. And I was left with a body that was in pain, and it was like, you have not been listening to the buildup and aggravation in your system and all the stress, and that creates this like toxic residue and byproduct of ama in your system. And now you're going to listen and you're going to sit still, and you can't do all those things you've done, and the only way is to go inside and to surrender. And so at that point, I had obviously known about Panchakarma. So Panchakarma is a consecutive days of detoxification and rejuvenation where every day the treatments are designed to really clear and purify the body, mind, and spirit. It's this deep, deep reset. And so the practice of going in for consecutive days, each day you go deeper into the tissues, deeper into the system, cleansing and clearing and purifying. And it's this like ultimate combination of all of Ayurvedic lifestyle counseling, hands-on treatments. You're made nourishing food during this time, and whenever we unplug from our hectic life and go into retreat, magic happens. It's like we don't even know how high level we are running our systems every day to tend to all these pieces. So a deep retreat, it is a gift to just tend to your own being, to your body, to give yourself the gift of self-care and self-love. So I then did my first Panchakarma, received my first Panchakarma, and I'd already been a Panchakarma technician at this point. And I went into this incredible deep dive. And this was definitely like my physical body, but there was so much on my nervous system, my emotional body, and my soul level that needed to just stop running the same story and stop running the same fast, do so much. This identification that I had through somebody that had so much energy and so much passion and doing, and all the things that I was doing and accomplishing and studying and working on. So Panchakarma landed me in my seat of awareness and stillness and into my core, and really just helped to move out so many layers of that push and rev and stresses on my system that had accumulated over time. So my personal life, I every day do my detoxification and balancing practices through Ayurveda lifestyle awareness and integration. And so now we're going to dive in deep on some more background about the detoxification processes, how they can be integrated into modern life, and then some of the practices that you might want to try yourself. So hang on for the ride as we go into this beautiful ancient practice of detoxification. So one of the pillars of Ayurvedic health is ahara. And I love always coming back to ahara because ahara means food, but it's more than the food. It's what we ingest through our senses. And so it's what we see, what we smell, what we hear, what we taste, what we feel. And as we know that in a modern society, we are overwhelmed with the increase of stimulation that we are taking into our senses. It has accelerated in speed what we take in, and we have access to so much information around the clock. And then we also look to our environment, the state of the world and all the toxicity that is built up in our air, in our waters, in our earth. Is at a very high level. We see it throughout the natural systems, and we see it in the animals, we see it in our foods. There's a high level of toxicity. And then when we look at the materials all around us, what we're driving in, what we're wearing, what we're sitting on, what our carpets are, our paints, we are just surrounded in a high level of toxicity. And so no matter how healthy and how pure our individual lifestyle may be, we are constantly being subjected to a high level of toxicity. And again, when I talk about the ahara and I talk about the senses, it's like, what are we ingesting? And then how is that influencing our psyche, our heart, and our soul on our path here in this lifetime? So I really want to start there to understand that like big overload that we're constantly processing in our system. And then another foundational concept in Ayurveda is the buildup of aggravation. So there's this natural cycle of detox and purification that comes through our bowel movements, urination, sweating, and then that's also what's happening at night during the pitta time between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And that's why we say that we should fall asleep before 10 p.m. because I say the janitors clock in at that time. And that's when all this like de-stress, detoxification, just kind of the refining and inner polishing that our body's incredible natural intelligence does. And that's during the pitta time. So that's that assimilation, processing, and transformative time that the pitta is in charge of. So those are like the natural processes, right? So we have all these body systems and we're going through life. And so our natural processes, there's always like a slight aggravation. And so that's the waxing and waning. So there's the buildup and then there's the release. There's the buildup and there's the release. And that goes on a day-to-day basis, right? And so when we're getting too much toxicity, too much impulse, too much overwhelm, too much stress on the system and on the senses, in our tissues, in our integration of the external world, and things that are unconscious and far beyond what we're even aware of that we carry in our system, that aggravation builds and builds and builds. And then if you imagine a container of that aggravation building, when there's not that natural release, it then spills over, and that aggravation will spill over and start to move into other body systems and start to accumulate and then start to shift those body systems. So what was the natural way that the body system worked, now there's something showing up as an aggravation and an imbalance, right? So maybe we're having trouble sleeping at night, or maybe we're constipated, or maybe we're having indigestion and bloating, or maybe we're having anxiety, right? So again, our system is built to naturally, everything has a cycle, right? It's like the daytime and the nighttime, the aggravation and the release, the build up and the release. If you look to nature, right? If we live in an area where in the rainy season, if it rained all year round, we would be so saturated with wetness that like, that's not where we would want to build, our homes and our towns, because there's an aggravation there. Or in a place where it's dry all year round, right? That's out in the desert and we don't grow food there. But there's this natural process of the seasons where the wet season is followed by a drier season, and the drier season's followed by a wet season, right? So there's this natural ebb and flow of life. Again, bringing this back to detoxification in our daily lifestyles. We live in these bodies and we are integrating, whether it's through our food, through information, through our senses, the lotions we put on our body, the things that we are watching, all of these things can accumulate and overwhelm our systems. I'm sure we are all very familiar with the intake of information, and then that builds up as toxicity in our system, and it starts to alter over time. It'll shift body systems and it'll start presenting itself in a certain way. So what do we do on a daily basis through the lens of Ayurveda to help clear and purify and cleanse and detox in our modern day life? So I've already mentioned Panchakarma. So that is something that is offered. I offer that at Sattva Wellness Center, and there are locations all over the country and in India and in different places of the world, Panchakarma centers, where you are going in. It's all personalized and it's consecutive days of detox and rejuvenation. Again, each day you're going in deeper and clearing out more of the toxicity in the system. And it's not just physical, it's like the emotional, the physical, the mental, and then that helps to clear the pathway so we can really reconnect with our center and like our soul's purpose and fulfillment in this lifetime. Because at some point, right, our body gets so compiled with all of these layers of beliefs, thoughts, toxicity called ama, impurities that have not been processed through the system and released in these natural ways. So they build up and then they create stagnant or blocked energy. And then again, they'll start to show up in different ways in the body system. So Panchakarma really goes in. Panchakarma 5 detoxification processes. There are many that we cannot do in the States, so we have really adapted it to this. We oil the body and we heat the body. So the oilination, the abhyanga, this oil massage is there to help liquefy and move the impurities and the lymph, the energy and the blood in the body. And then the sweating technique helps to like sweat and wring these out as we have really allowed them to surface out of these deep, deep parts of our physical, emotional, and mental body. Then daily rituals in Ayurveda. So warm water and lemon, the best way to start your day before you consume any other beverages is to have warm water and lemon. And the warmth I always describe as when we have grease, right? Grease residue on our dishes. If we do cold water, that will not come off. So we really have to do warm water. It's like we are helping to dislodge and move that grease that is like that ama, that toxicity that has accumulated in our system. And then the lemon is alkalining. So in an alkaline system, that does not grow impurities. Acidity grows impurities. So we want an alkaline body. We want the warm water that also helps to hydrate the kidneys, the bladder system, our adrenals, and really help to send that fresh water through our system before we do our tea, before we do our coffee, before we do our food. So warm water and lemon first thing in the morning is always going to be your dear friend for a natural detoxification. Then we look to Ayurvedic Abhyanga. So this is a self massage done with warm herbalized oil, traditionally sesame oil. And you want to make sure that that's warm, right? So warm invigorates and moves, whereas cold slows down and contracts. So we're really looking at how do we warm the tissues? How do we move the lymph? How do we move the blood? How do we purify our system, bringing that warmth, bringing that movement so nothing stagnates in the system. So you're going to warm the oil and give yourself a full body massage. There's many resources online. I also have resources on my website for how to do self-massage Ayurvedic Abhyanga. More techniques are the food that you eat. So when we do warm foods with good digestive herbs, digestion is the seat of assimilation and processing. When digestion is low, we tend to have more byproducts of impurities that have not been processed and stay in the system. When our digestion is strong, we're really able to process it and assimilate our food, and then we're left with a clean byproduct that then is released through urine and our bowel movements. So digestive herbs, we're going to go through the savory palette. So we're looking at turmeric, ginger, coriander, cumin, black pepper. And then in the sweet palette, we're looking at nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom. So really bringing in warm digestive herbs. You can also sip on warm tea to really help to stoke the digestive fire. And in general, anything cold from the fridge, cold beverages, is going to deplete the integrity of the digestive system, of the digestive fire. So room temp to warm is going to support natural detoxification, keep the system moving, keep the system flowing, and keep the system pure. Then other practices would be our yoga and breath work, right? So like breath of fire, alternative nostril breathing, really purification through the breath work, bringing in prana and purifying. That's what it is designed to do, as well as a concentration practice, so that we're not consumed by all the thoughts. We get to actually land in our nervous system. We get to drop into our parasympathetic nervous system, and that relieves the stress on the system. When we have less stress, everything works better, okay? So breath work is going to be monumental in a daily practice for purification. Yoga is designed to open up the channels, the nadis, for purification of the body, sending that prana through the channels, really creating a strong and healthy body. And then in that process, we're also doing this beautiful detox and purification. And so in Ayurveda, our detox approach is about a lifestyle. It's about how are we living in our most pure form, pure in body, clarity in mind, emotional well-being, and then that really opens this pathway to connecting to our soul's purpose and fulfillment. So what I love so much about Ayurveda is it's this daily practice of how we care for ourselves. It is the empowerment through self-awareness and self-knowledge for self-healing. It's tuning inward to really listen to what is not working for us, what energizes us, what can we change? We have the capacity to shift our life through our physical, our mental, emotional well-being, to feel energized, radiant, to clear out, to not carry what the external world is very full of indulgence, stimulation, and overwhelm. So Ayurveda is this empowering journey so that we can really hone in and really reclaim our autonomy, our sovereign beings, to move through this life with as much clarity and as much joy and as much freedom as possible. So this takes time, it takes discipline, it takes commitment, it takes a hell yeah to dive in to commit to caring for ourselves on a daily basis, to incorporating techniques into our life to purify and to really bring awareness to why am I doing this? Is it serving me? Is there something I need to change? And how do I reconnect with what it is within me that I came here to do, that I came here to really deeply connect into and evolve as a soul. Wishing you an amazing journey in this detoxification, purification process in our modern life. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. I'd love to share more for your personal journey. You can also head to my website at sattvawellnesscenter.com. Sattva is spelled Sattva, and I have this amazing free download for Ayurvedic morning rituals. So how to start every morning off to feel vibrant, radiant, and that has these natural detoxification practices already in it. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Sattva Wellness Center. And remember, incorporating simple Ayurvedic practices into daily routines can be a gentle way to support the body's natural detoxification process. Enjoy slowing down, tuning in, and liberating your life.